Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'll let everybody have the opportunity to be seated. Wow, this is really amazing, looking out at all of you and 200 new attendees. Phenomenal. And now, I'll begin again. Good morning, my CF family. Dear, dear friends, and many of you that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet. And welcome to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's 16th Volunteer Leadership Conference. Wow. Such a pleasure to be here with you, our most dedicated friends and supporters. We are so grateful to have this opportunity to be together and to strengthen our commitment with you. Thank you. I've been part of this remarkable community for over 3 decades, and I'm awed at how much we have accomplished and how much we have to look forward to. I would like to send a warm welcome to our many friends joining us online, especially all of you with cystic fibrosis. Your inspiring courage, your dreams are at the heart of our mission, and you're really the reason that we're all here today. I'm also delighted to welcome my fellow board members, the CF Board of Trustees, who are with us today. Mike Beatty, Teresa Elder, Sue Hook, and Dave Mount. Thank you for your untiring commitment to the CF cause on so many levels. And as always, it is wonderful to join my partner, Preston Campbell, CEO and President of the Foundation, whose leadership and tireless commitment to people with CF has been so essential to the progress that we've made. Thank you, Preston. So we have 2 great days together and ahead of us. The theme of this year's VLC is Teammates, Stronger Together. What a wonderful theme. It perfectly captures what VLC is all about and also what makes our community so special. As we'll see throughout the conference, we challenge ourselves and motivate one another to advance our shared mission, whether by volunteering, advocating, taking part in clinical trials, fundraising, mentoring, or helping lead the charge here at VLC. We continually find new ways to collaborate with and support each other so that we can cross the finish line together. I'd like to share a short video that beautifully shows how much stronger we are when we work together.
This is what I like about my job. treatment, still fighting, still walking until it's done.
We don't just want to treat CF, we want to end it.
I feel so loved just by everyone showing me all this support.
I just really hope that you will be loud in making sure that nature gets the care that he needs.
I'm here because we need affordable, adequate, and available health care.
Cystic fibrosis is a rare, genetic, life-shortening disease, and my uncle is one of them.
What a fabulous and determined team. Our community is on the cusp of exciting change. And being stronger together is more important than ever. Earlier this month, we received encouraging news about the progress of potential triple combination modulators. You'll be hearing more details about this at our science update tomorrow. We now have in our sights potential new therapies that could be life-transforming for as many as 90% of people with CF. We could not have come this far without each and every one of you. And I want to guarantee you that we remain committed to the many individuals with rare and nonsense mutations to ensure that they have effective treatments for their CF. I know everyone here will be with me in that important effort. By staying together, we will move yet faster toward our common goal, a cure for all people with CF. And I am confident that we will get there. Look forward to connecting with you over the next 2 days, and I'm honored to thank you for all that you do. It's now my sincere pleasure to introduce two remarkable teammates who are advancing our mission every day through their unwavering dedication to our community. Our first co-chair, Pam Baker, is the mother of 4 children. 2 of them, Gavin and Jake, have cystic fibrosis. For the past 16 years, Pam and her family have worked tenaciously to raise awareness about CF and accelerate medical progress. From writing letters and recruiting Great Strides teams across the country to throwing a fantastic fundraiser, Shamrockin' for a Cure. For over a decade, there is nothing that Pam won't do to find a cure for her boys. In her 16 years with us, Pam's Great Strides team, the famous Baker Boys Battalion, has raised more than $4 million. Joining Pam is a volunteer who's been involved with the CF Foundation for more than a decade. Justin Davis joined Pittsburgh's 50 Finest program when he had no direct connection to CF. Since then, he has held multiple roles locally and nationally. At last year's VLC, Justin was recipient of the first National Tomorrow's Leader Award, which is given to young professionals who have donated their time, talents, and resources in many ways, most notably by inspiring others to get involved. Please join me in welcoming your 2019 Volunteer Leadership Co-Chairs, Pam Davis, blowing the last thing, Pam Baker and Justin Davis.
I think I'm ready.
I think I'm ready. I need some deep breaths. All right. You would think I'd be used to speaking publicly by now, but I'm not. But here I am. Thank you, Cam. You're awesome. I mean, what can I say? You're just awesome. Got to take my readers out. All right. So good morning, everybody. Jess and I are so excited to be here as your co-chairs this year. I mean, it's been awesome.
CFFBFF.
I mean, it seems like a minute ago. We were getting the hashtag. Yeah. So it's good. But God, this is always such an awesome weekend. We're so excited. And through the foundation, we've met all of you. This is a community of amazing people who have all become family. And even if this is your first year, you're part of the family, and I hope that you're feeling that as you're getting to know people. We've got so many amazing friends, and we're all here for the same thing, to cure cystic fibrosis. We've been inspired by so many people, and we're all in this. I love this theme this year. We're in this together because we are stronger together, and that's a really, really important message, so I'm really glad that's our theme this year. We want to start by saying thank you to the San Diego chapter. You guys have done an amazing job putting on this event. It's amazing. We also want to thank our teammates who attended pre-conference activities. You know, we officially start today, but there's been all kinds of stuff going on for the last couple of days. And so last night we had our young professionals have their little reception, which I crashed. I'm not
Tomorrow's
young.
leaders.
I'm not young, but I did crash the young professionals party last night. And earlier this morning we had a special reception where we recognized the newest members of the National Leadership Council, and you're going to be hearing more about them later on from our long-standing board member, Mike Beatty, and he is also the Leadership Council chair. He's going to be talking tonight at the dinner, so you'll hear more about them. But we also had a very successful first-time attendee, VLC, those who are here for the first time, and I think there's about 200 new attendees this year. That's amazing. It's so exciting. And last but definitely not least, we have a brand new initiative this year called Grampians, and that's for our loyal, awesome grandparents to see us. So exciting. So awesome. They all got a cool pin, so if you see them with their pins, definitely go up, introduce yourself, and hang out with them. We love them. And they're like our most passionate ambassadors here, nationally, everywhere. And if you have any questions about anything, you know, everybody's favorite grandparent, Bonnie Binker, there she is. Talk to her. She knows the answers to everything. She's awesome. So, and obviously, long-standing member of our community and last year's. Does it seem like a year ago? No. It's crazy. She was VLC co-chair last year. So she's awesome. If you have any questions. So, my own, there they are. Are they up there yet? My own personal CF story started back in 2002 when my oldest child, Gavin, was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. There he is. Like many people, I had no idea what CF was, but of course the first things that jumped out to me were the first things that probably jump out to most people, that it was a genetic disease, there was no cure, and the life expectancy was 32 at that time. So I was a first-time mom. None of those were great things to read, but the thing that jumped out to me the most in that moment was the genetic part, because I was already 6 months pregnant with my second child. So that freaked me out, but a few weeks later I had an amniocentesis and found out that Jake would also be born with cystic fibrosis. So I went from knowing nothing about this disease to having 2 kids that I knew in my mind and in my heart would not survive me. So that was a pretty hard thing to get my head wrapped around, and I went to a very dark place for a little while I tried to figure out how to live in this new world, and as I grieved the loss of my old world. And in this new world, I had to figure out how to survive this shift and survive with, at that time, very little hope for what I had for my kids, for what their future would look like. Stayed in that place for a little while, but then I just had to pull myself together because there was no way. I'm Irish. There's no way I'm going down without a fight. I'm like, this is not going to happen. So I pulled myself together and tried to figure out what I was going to do. And it was a great idea, a great theory that I'm going to go fight this disease all by myself. But I learned very quickly that I wasn't going to be able to do this by myself. I had to figure out a way to build an army of people to help me. And that was going to give me my best chance at beating the disease. And so that's what my husband and I did. We built an army of people, and we even decided, you heard our name is Baker Boys Battalion, because literally we started this idea we're waging war on this, and we're not going to take it sitting down. So 2 months later, we had our very first Great Strides walk, and we had about 120 people show up, and we raised over $30,000 that first year. So that's what... So that was a few years in. Our very first, we tried to burn the pictures because we tried to make tie-dyes, and they were horrible, and it was ugly. So we decided to buy chairs after that. But how do you build an army? How do you do that? Well, you got to recruit people. You got to get them passionate about what you're passionate about, and you got to figure out how to do that. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to do that. What we did, though, is we learned how to tell our story. We had zero fundraising experience, zero. And I am the kind of person, I don't like to ask anybody for anything ever. But I knew that if I had a chance at winning this war, I was going to have to step outside of my comfort zone. And that is something that I will definitely tell people all day long. A lot of us like to live inside that comfort zone, but you have to be able to step out of it if you're going to make the biggest impact that you can make. So I made myself do that. We started listening to other CF families who came before us and learning how to craft our story, learning how to tell it in a way that would get people passionate about helping us. So we learned that all starts from sharing your heart. You got to share your heart. You got to share what your passion is. Why are you doing this? And you got to share your end game. What do you want? What do you want out of this? And if you learn how to craft that story really well, you'll get the people who are in your life, but you'll also find people who aren't even in your life yet who will become your biggest advocates and help you and become a part of your story and become a part of your fight. And so, it was a weird concept to me. And I remember actually one of my very first VLCs. I think it was called VLI back then. I don't know.
That's old school.
I know. And I was getting an award. The Baker Boys Battalion was getting an award, but I was the one here getting that award. And it was so weird to me. I felt like a poser. I felt like I was, I don't know. I just didn't feel right to me. So I was weird about it all weekend. And I was up there accepting this award for this money that was raised, and I couldn't have raised this money by myself. And I was just kind of a whack job about it. But then, I don't know, I was just weird. But then I talked to our, everybody knows Margaret Casalina. Where are you, Margaret? Where is she?
There's Margaret.
There she is. I don't know if you remember this, Margaret, but I remember talking to you that night, and you were like, so congratulations. But I said I was acting weird. I was like, this is so dumb. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what's happening. But I said, I didn't raise this money. I shouldn't be getting this award. And she said to me, you may not have raised this money on your own, but without you, the money would not have been raised. She said, you are the catalyst that made that all happen. I was like, oh, okay. I think I can be on board with that. So that's when I realized, okay, that's my role. That's my role, is to be the catalyst and just try to activate as many people as I can to get in this fight. And so for me, again, that all started with really learning how to share my story. So while I was determined to share it to anybody and everybody, it didn't take long for me to realize that this story, this whole process, this whole war is so much bigger than one family or one battalion, and that we all need one another. Everybody here, you guys online, we need one another because we're all part of a rope that's been woven together, and it's caused us, we use that rope to scale a mountain. I have this whole idea in my head, and I got to get it out. Okay, we're like scaling a mountain, right? And we got to scale that mountain. We got to reach the top before we have a chance at beating CF, and each strand of that rope is like super critical, because if we weren't all woven together, we weren't all doing this together, We couldn't get there. If we didn't have all the people who came before us in the CF world weaving their ropes together, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't. We're on the cusp of some amazing greatness, and we could not have done that if we weren't all working together with our threads woven together. So why not? Why wouldn't we? Because we're stronger together. So we go back to that theme of how, we need each other. We need to be stronger together. There's so much excitement in the CF world right now for most of the CF population, for most of it. So it would be easy for those of us who've been around 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. It'd be so easy for us to sit back and say, you know what? We're good. We got some great things here. Let's just chill for a minute. Let's just take a break. We've been doing this a long time. Let's just sit back and say, let's just take a break. But you know what? These therapies are great, but they're not a cure. And there's way too many people still out there waiting for a treatment that can be a real solution for them. It can really start offering them some hope. And I'll tell you guys, some of my best friends in this room right now are still waiting. They're waiting for their hope. And they're super excited about what those of us will have real strong therapy. They're excited. I know they are. But I know that they're also terrified. They're terrified that we will sit back and start taking it easy because close enough. We're good enough. And I'm just here to say right now that I'm not doing that because we're stronger together. And I hope that none of you will do that as we get closer. I hope that none of you will sit back and say, we're good enough. Let's chill for a minute. Because we can't let them down. There are too many people who need to feel the hope that I feel right now. They need it. And we're stronger together. And we have to stick together. And I hope that you all will make that commitment too. So, thank y'all for being here. And I want to let Justin take over now.
Thank you, Pam. And I know you know this, but it is really, truly an honor to share the stage with you. So, my journey with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation began in 2006. I was a dedicated volunteer looking for an organization that would inspire me. I had no direct connection to cystic fibrosis. Can't say that anymore. What I had was passion. A passion to give my time and my talents to a worthy cause. A passion to make a difference. After many attempts to find a charity to work with, and after a lot of research, I found my local Cystic Fibrosis Foundation chapter in Western Pennsylvania. That was your cue, table. There we go. There's a little terrible towel. Initially, I talked to Pat Joseph, our executive director, about a little program that we have that's made a big impact called Pittsburgh's 50 Finest. After learning about the foundation's role in advancing incredible medical progress, I knew this was an effort I could get behind. The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation started with a group of parents who would not accept this disease. They chose to roll up their sleeves and fight. What I didn't know at that time is that this organization and this cause would completely change my life forever. In my early days as a volunteer, I started to meet people who were directly affected by cystic fibrosis. And that's when this became more than just volunteer time for me. The mission started to become clear. I was fortunate enough to meet an amazing person, a mother of 2 daughters with CF, Angie Kinney. As we stand here today, Angie is one of my best friends. She's someone I look up to and admire, and I love her with all my heart. Watching her raise 2 incredible daughters while fighting CF and being a true leader for this organization made me feel like I could do so much more. As if my efforts were minuscule on some level. Yet, Angie being Angie, still managed to make me feel like I could help make CF stand for Cure Found. I decided that I was going to step up, join others, and be one more beacon of hope for the foundation. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but that's where my heart was and still is. What happened next significantly transformed my life. In 2010, I attended my first volunteer leadership conference. No words could have prepared me for that weekend. I learned so much in those few days. Our leadership is brilliant. These are men and women who could run any Fortune 500 company in the world, and they are here making shrewd decisions with the dollars we raise so that we can reach our goals as quickly as possible. I also began to really understand the power of this community, a community that shares one dream. As Cam mentioned, the theme of this year's conference is Stronger Together. We're teammates. And every year we get a little bit stronger by adding new teammates. So for those of you attending VLC for the first time, I am most excited for you. And I stopped in your room today and it was packed, so there's a lot of you. The passion you will feel in your days here gives me goosebumps. I recall each of my VLC experiences, and if I can give you any advice, it's this. Meet everyone that you can while you're here. Introduce yourself to as many people as possible. Ask questions, write down your ideas, everything that you hear. Send texts back to your volunteer base at home. Communicate, keep in touch, share what you're experiencing, use your social media. Soak it in. Soak in every moment and make the most of these 2 days. Our theme, Stronger Together, could not be more simple, yet it's so powerful. For the VLC veterans, if you see someone wearing a button that says first-time attendee, say hello and welcome them to our family. Thank you.
All right, so we want to take a moment now to recognize the people who have been the VLC co-chairs before us. There's a list of them. I'm going to name them, and I want you guys to stand, okay? We have Amy and Peter Berry, Margaret and Mark Casalina, Pam and Lou Mertz, Kelly and Perry Clark, Mary and Lou DeFalco, Angie Kinney and Katrina Young, Laura Gordon and Kim, I always say this wrong, Richkowski, and Ginger Birnbaum and Mike Beatty, Bonnie Binker, and Paul Matenko. You guys please stand and everybody recognize them. Awesome. The Volunteer Leadership Conference has grown into what it is today. This is the biggest one, by the way, because of their commitment and their contributions over the years. You may have noticed that they're wearing buttons. As we have a lot of buttons going on around here. There's a lot of buttons. Just look for buttons. If you have any questions over the next couple days, find them. Again, just like Bonnie with the Grampians, they got answers. So find them if you have any questions. Okay, so we're going to go back to that rope I was talking about. So we're climbing a mountain here, people. We're climbing a mountain. And we need that rope to tie us together. Think about mountain climbers. All right, they climb in teams. If they're smart. They do this for a reason, right? Things tend to go more smoothly when you have a team of people working together to scale a mountain, rather than go it alone. There are unexpected risks. There's also opportunities. And if you have a team of people working with you along the way, you can manage those risks and those opportunities better. So in teams, everyone has a clear role. You have your people that go out front, and they're the trailblazers, and they're clearing the path for everybody else. They're going up the mountain first. And then you have the people following behind, and those people are there. If someone falls, they're there to lift them up and catch them and keep them safe and keep them moving forward. Progress is made incrementally with everyone working together until there's more and more and more and more and more momentum. It speeds things up, right? So it gets generated over time when we're all working together. We've seen this already with the modulator therapies, right? Broke through with Kaleido. It led to Orkambi, then Symdeko. We've seen it happening. So eventually, We're going to have our triple combo, hopefully. But because we're one team, we're not going to be satisfied. Even when that triple combo comes out, we're not going to be satisfied until everyone reaches the top of that mountain. So that, my friends, means we are all here together to get to that cure for CF. The whole point of climbing together, the whole point is that we all get to the top of the mountain. We all get to enjoy the view once we get up there. Not just a handful, not just 90%, 100%. And that's what we're going to do. The success of some of us will lead to the success of all of us if we just keep climbing the mountain together. So when Francis Collins discovered the CF gene in 1989, he actually described it as being at the base camp of Mount Everest. And since that point, we've gone up, we've moved up the mountain, we've moved up a good amount, but we're not done. And we need everyone on board to get all the way up to the peak. So each of you have carabiners on your tables, all right? Here's our little special CF moment of the weekend. You all have a carabiner, and this represents your... Oh, you going to get one? You need one, yeah. This represents your contribution to this mission, and we want to give this to you so that you remember that we're all in this fight together. So I want you to clip it to the... You guys already did it. That's awesome. You like read my script.
So let's make this a moment.
Let's make it a moment.
Let's do it.
You're like, we know something's happening here.
We are forever linked, so let's link up together. Everybody get yours out. You know what? Get your phones out too. Let's make this a social media moment. Let's put this out there, guys. Pam and I will kick it off.
Yeah.
With a little
We're
selfie.
So when you're using social media today, make sure you hashtag CFFVLC wherever you go, whatever your social media is. So get that together. We're going to do ours.
Pam, what's my password again?
Take it. Hold that. Let's do it. Yeah, we're going to do a selfie this way. All right. Everybody blowing up social media? Blow it up. So here's what you're going to do when you get home, guys. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come on. Social media is so exciting, I know. My 13-year-old thinks so too. Okay, take these with you when you go home. Oh my God, you're like a classroom of children. Rein it in, people. Come on. Come on. I'm going to get in trouble for taking too long. I'll be fired. When you get home, I want you to clip this. Clip this to your backpack, your keys, your purse. Clip it to wherever, something that you use every day, so it will help remind you what your role is, okay? Use it every day. You're important. You have a very important job, and that's helping us find a cure for 100% of the people with cystic fibrosis. As we get closer to finding the cure, let's be very clear to our friends who do not have an effective treatment yet that we will not give up until there is a cure for all people with cystic fibrosis.
No, that's right. I hope you all understand that we're making history here. 10 years ago, we didn't have anything even close to what we have now. We are stronger together. We've already proven that. But we are not done yet. One way you can help make us even stronger is to share your personal CF story with as many people as you can. This will encourage others to join us in this fight, resulting in an army of people who will be with us as we scale the mountain and eventually reach the top. And make no mistake, we are stronger together, and it will take all of us to get to the top of the mountain. Over the next 2 days, reach out to others and make new connections. Spread awareness about the amazing community here today by sharing information on your social media channels. Remember, hashtag CFFVLC. Finally, this new year, 2019, we have some new things. We have a Vlc Storytelling Booth. So I think we have a... Please stop by if you have a story about your loved ones, your first experiences volunteering, or anything else you want to share with a wider CF community for a chance to be featured on the official CF Foundation channels. It is located right outside of the Grand Ballroom and open throughout the conference. We want to hear from you, so swing by. And also, be sure to stop by the teammate boards to pin up pictures of your loved ones or write a message about why you are a CF teammate. And for those of you who are tuning in on the live stream, be sure to also follow along on social media, including watching on the CF Foundation's Twitter and Instagram stories. It is now my pleasure to introduce one of the inspirational leaders of our team, Mark Kinsky. Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, Mark joined the foundation close to 3 years ago. Since then, he has made it a point to immerse himself in our wonderful CF community and spend a big part of his first year visiting every chapter. He continues to travel and engage with our CF community every chance he gets. Mark, on behalf of all of us here and watching online, we are proud to follow your lead as well as we will work to fulfill the foundation's mission. Mark Kinsky.
I didn't enjoy the Summer of Love all that much, but if you want some stories from what I hear Mike Beatty, he might have some for you, so you might want to check in with Mike. Sorry, Mike, I didn't call you out on that one. So I want to just talk a little bit about a journey, the journey that the foundation is on, where we are today, a little bit of a personal journey. So the first thing I want to share with y'all, let's see, where are we? There we go. 2 years ago, I stood up at my first VLC in Dallas, Texas, which at the time until this year was the largest VLC we'd ever had. And I shared your stories, the stories that you gave to me, your gift to me as I traveled through my first year. And that was when I really learned something that Preston had first talked to me about when I interviewed here, which was the power of this incredible community. And then last year in DC, because I do go old school on my music, we went a little Bob Dylan, we talked about the times they are changing. And I centered it around a quote from Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of concerned citizens can change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has." And that, in fact, is the journey that you guys have taken people with CF on. You're changing their lives one life at a time. So that, and then we talked about the values that we live by at the CF Foundation, those of us that work there. And one of those values, I don't think it's pure coincidence, is Stronger Together, the theme of this year's conference. So as we talk about this year, I want you to think a little bit about our history and how we've come so far and where we're going to go in the future. And as I reflect on the history and I try to understand, nothing about the CF Foundation makes any damn sense. We should not be where we are. We should not have accomplished as much as we have. We should not have progressed as far as we have. We shouldn't be able to raise the money we have. We shouldn't be able to pull a family like this together into one room to talk for a couple of days, although the weather is a draw. We shouldn't be able to do any of these things, and yet we do. And that begs the question, why? How? And the answer is really simple. You. You're the why, and you're the how. You, working together, have made this happen. You started this thing together 64 years ago. You have accomplished so much together. We will continue to make great strides together, and we will finish this thing together. And it's all because of you. And this is an incredibly exciting time in our evolution. And I need you to understand, nobody in our office is taking a victory lap. If anything, we are just re-energized to work harder. There is no victory lap to be taken. And I'm sorry, Preston, I'm going to steal some words you've been using a lot lately. The best is, in fact, yet to come. We have not gotten there yet. The best is yet to come. So what I want to do now is I want to share some stories. So, when you see a board like this, if you ever have occasion to come visit us in our office in Bethesda, there are pictures all over our walls. And none of the pictures are of models. We have so many beautiful people in our CF community that we don't need models. Everybody on our walls either works for the foundation, is a volunteer, is a parent, is a person with CF. And you see one of these walls right in front of me, and I've created a little bit of a different one here. And the thing that's really important is each one of these people, and you've heard this term a bunch of times, each one of these people is a story. There's a story. And let me tell you what the story is not. The story is not 2 strands of DNA. That is not their story. And strands of DNA do not define the severity of CF, and they do not define how we think about somebody with cystic fibrosis. We think about the entirety of the person, their physical health, their mental health, their well-being. That's how we think of people. We think of people as stories. There are 620 people in this room that are bound together by our stories. We have different ones, but they all have a common theme. We're here for one reason. So what I want to do is tell you a couple of stories. My first story is about this young man. His name is Bobby Foster. Bobby lives in Orlando. Where's the Orlando chapter? They must be here somewhere. I first met Bobby at an annual meeting down in Orlando where he was given an award. He has cystic fibrosis. He was given an award for being their cystic fibrosis hero of the year. And he stands up very calmly, closes his eyes, and rather than giving a thank you speech, launches into a spoken word poetry piece that had jaws on the floor and tears flowing. He has subsequently finished college, become a life coach. Okay? His journey with CF was an incredibly easy one until he was about 16 years old. Very talented basketball player, played AAU basketball. A teammate of his grabbed his Gatorade bottle. His teammate happened to have mono. Bobby spent the next year and a half in and out of hospital and was never quite the same after that physically. Okay, Bobby's thriving right now, and he's on Orkambi, and he is a recent recipient of an impact grant from the CF Foundation to help other people with CF as a life coach. So that's Bobby's story. He is not defined by the fact that he's on Orkambi or is double delta F508. That is not his story. He is not 2 strands of DNA. Neither is this young man. First person with cystic fibrosis I ever met. His name is Aaron Stocks. He works in our Compass program. He spends every day of his life helping others with CF and their families. That's what he does for a living. Now, Aaron's an interesting, I'm going to call him a kid even though he's not. As he described his journey to me, he said, "Mark, I was a punk." He said, "I was just an awful kid. If you don't believe me, ask anybody that knew me. I was so sure I was going to die before I was 18 years old that I just didn't care." And then he started to hear about some medicines being developed, and he got the most important thing that anyone can have, and that's hope. Okay? Took a job at the CF Foundation, our Metro DC chapter. As I said, he now works in our Compass program, helping people with CF every day of his life. And if you ever want to see, and she's in this room somewhere, I'm not going to call her out because she'd kill me. If you ever want to see one of the truly great Bid for a Cure speeches, look up Aaron Stocks, Bid for a Cure, Washington, D.C., and watch him propose to his now wife, who also works for the CF Foundation, Brady Stocks. Aaron is on Orkambi, is thriving right now, and spends every day making a difference in the lives of people with CF. He is not 2 strands of DNA. There's a picture that's not on this board. If you can let your imaginations wander just a little bit, imagine a young couple, 18 years old. They just met, they got a little starry-eyed, and then they started holding hands. And I won't take you down the rest of the journey. You guys are all adults. They fall in love, they get married, and let's say in 2030, they have a baby. Unbeknownst to them, they were both carriers of the CF gene. That 1 out of 4 shot didn't exactly go their way, and they have a young baby with cystic fibrosis in 2030. It is possible that child, at that point, when he talks or she talks to when the parents talk to the doctor, what they're going to hear is, your child has a chronic condition called cystic fibrosis. He or she is going to take a pill every day. No enzymes, no breathing treatments, no inhalers. a life expectancy that's normal. That's possible. It's not definite by any stretch of the imagination, but that's possible. Each and every one of those stories, Bobby and Aaron's ability to help other people, and that child who's not yet here's ability to thrive is because of you. It's because of what you have done. Okay? It is the entire person. And I think the thing I really want you to hear, we do not think about done based on the percentage of people that are eligible for a modulator. That's simply not the way we think about it. Okay? There are too many people whose stories are not this good for us to think that way. So what I want to do now, if you'll indulge me, is take you on a little bit of a historical journey. So this, I have to give credit where credit is due. Unfortunately, John Cotter is a Harvard guy, so I'm not a big fan, but that's okay, Joe. We'll let it slide for now. John Cotter is considered by many, by most, to be one of the true gurus of change management. And he talks about change management, he publishes about change management, and this is his visual that he uses to describe the steps of change that you should go through to have effective change. And when I saw this, I was so struck by how it mirrors and mimics the story of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So what I want to do is take you around the wheel. All right? Nothing creates urgency like sick children. Let's just be honest about it, right? So in 1955, when this foundation was founded, the urgency was easy to come by. Kids were not making it to elementary school. If that doesn't create a sense of urgency, nothing will. And then we had these incredible founders. Think about Mary Weiss and the story of 65 Roses and Doris Tolson that built a guiding coalition to bring us forward. And interestingly, the vision they had of focusing on care and science has carried us through to today and our mission today to cure this disease. Right? So they had all of that. And then I would be remiss if you're going to talk about a volunteer army, you guys are its captains. Rich Mattingly might have been the general. And I think it is worth noting that what he did in creating this volunteer army is nothing short of miraculous. And then you start to talk about barriers. And I'm going to take you down a list. And I am sure Preston will tell me I missed 50 of them along the way. But I want to talk about some barriers that were removed. Think about starting a patient registry to drive quality improvement in care. That removes a barrier. The vest. Just think about all of the different things, all of the different barriers. The registry. You think about the discovery of the gene. You think about the establishment of the TDP. Think about the fact that we nationalized and took all resources centrally before any other charities were even thinking about that, right? All of these things remove barriers. We established the TDP. We established the Therapeutics Development Network. The gene gets discovered. Venture philanthropy is developed. The monetization happens. All of these things knock down barriers so that we can progress, right? All of these things. Milestones, Joe. Big barrier. Removed an enormous barrier. Resources. The resources weren't there, and then they were, right? All of these things removed barriers. And then the wins start to pile up. And the list, we could be here for days and talk about the wins, but think about how much, Bruce is sitting there, think about how much care has improved in 64 years. Drewsy's sitting right next to him. It's remarkable how much care has improved. The vest didn't exist when the foundation was founded. Now we have a vest that doesn't even have to be plugged into a wall, right? So that's a win, right? Then think about Pulmozyme, Toby, in hypertonic saline, azithromycin, right? Caistin, Kalydeco, or Cambi, Symdeko. They're wins. What do wins do? They give you hope. They allow you to accelerate your momentum. They move us forward so that we can have acceleration, so that we can change. The change we seek is CF standing for Cure Found. The opportunity we seek is making this disease go away. That's what we are here to do. We started this thing together. We've accomplished a ton together. We're going to continue to make great strides together, and we're going to finish this thing together. It's the only way that we can get this done. So I'm going to, I think Cotter has one other quote that's worth mentioning. Celebrating is fine, but declaring the war won can be catastrophic. We haven't won anything yet. We're going to continue to generate wins, and we're going to celebrate the hell out of them, because that's what they deserve. Whether those wins impact one life or 20,000 lives, we're going to celebrate them. Because we think about this one story at a time, 34,000 times in the United States alone. One story at a time is how we're going to focus on this. So when my kids were little, and anyone who here is a parent can relate to this. When you ask your kid to do something, go clean your room. But dad, but mom, but dad, but mom. And we had an expression we used all the time, butts stink, right? Hated the word, despised it. And yet I think we collectively have fallen into a terrible trap of using the word but to describe the journey we're on. So here's what we say. We have this amazing opportunity with the next generation of CF modulators, but we know that they're not going to work for everyone. Shame on us. There are no buts, there are only ands. Everything changes when you say, there are these amazing modulators that are going to positively benefit up to 90% of the people in the CF population. And we still have work to do. Nobody is first. Nobody is last. Every single story is a story worth telling. Strands of DNA do not describe the severity of disease. They do not describe the story. This is the journey that we've been on. This is the journey we're going to stay on. So I'm going to tell you some more stories. Stacey Carmona. Many of you know her as Stacey Matenko. She's the more beautiful part of my favorite picture, which is a picture she took with her dad at her wedding. She is 32. I was told if I say 33, she'll be very upset with me. I had the occasion to see her speak in person a few months ago. To say she's remarkable would be an understatement. She works for Kroger's. She has a career. She has a husband. She has a life. She has lung function that's outstanding right now. It's around 90%. And she carries two nonsense mutations and is therefore not eligible for any of the modulators currently in development. Nonsense and rare mutations are not a new area of focus for us. We've been focused on them for as long as we've been focused on science. They're hard. We admit that. If they were easy, they would have been done. We didn't treat them as coming last. The science didn't get there yet. There are approaches we're looking at right now that 5 years ago were science fiction. They were just completely out there. They weren't real, and now they're science. And that journey is going to continue. And our passion for making sure that we address effective treatments and ultimately a cure for every person carrying these mutations is no less than our passion for making sure that people have effective modulator therapies when those will work, and that we can even get them alternative modulators with different mechanisms of action for those that are eligible that don't respond well. Our passion is no different. Let's talk about Chad. Many of you might recognize this face. Chad Reedy is one of our national advocacy co-chairs. We're the Strubies. They're in here somewhere. They co-chair this with the Strubies. Of course, Mary's pointing. She knows where they are, Mary. What a shock that you'd want to highlight this. So let me tell you a little something about Chad. Chad was a college lacrosse player. Chad was not defined by his 2 strands of DNA. Chad did not have CF really impact him until after he was out of college, when it hit him like a freight train. Okay? Orkambi did not work real well for Chad, to say the least. He is currently on Symdeko. His lung function is in the low 30s. He is excited about the next round of modulator therapies. He spends a lot of his time giving back to this community. He recently testified in front of a congressional subcommittee to make damn sure they understood how important coverage for pre-existing conditions is to people with cystic fibrosis. And here's the thing, Chad lives outside of DC. His family is here. His wife Julie and his parents Carl and Judy are here somewhere. There they are. They're incredibly hopeful for the triple, as they should be. And if he gets a wonderful bounce from the triple, that's going to be awesome. But it's not going to make his CF go away. As we cast our eyes forward and we think about what does the CF population look like in 20 years, in 20 years, more than 2/3 of the population will be adults. Isn't that great news, right? The pediatric population is going to get increasingly healthier. But of those adults, as many as half of them are going to have lung disease. And 6% of them, or some rough, these are obviously approximate numbers, are still going to need transplant. So we know that we have to focus on things like infection, and we have to focus on all the complications of this disease. Having a great modulator doesn't make disease go away. That's not done. If every single person with cystic fibrosis was on an effective modulator, that is still not done. That is not bringing Chad's lung function from where it is today to the place where it should be. We have work to do. And our passion for addressing these complications is no different than our passion for those with nonsense mutations, and is no different for our passion for those who are on effective modulators and need more effective ones. Okay? And the last story I'm going to share with you is that of Leanne Rittenbaum-Ott. Leanne's dad is the executive director of our Georgia chapter. Where's the Georgia chapter? Leanne is a graduate of Boston University. She worked in web design. She married the love of her life, Doug. Last March, she received a double lung transplant. On November 1st of this year, I got the following email from her father. Thanks so much, Mark. I'm a lucky guy. That email was sent in response to a note of condolence because he lost his daughter that day. Our passion for addressing transplant and the complications and outcomes that come from it is no different than our passion for addressing complications, is no different or less than our passion for addressing people that don't have effective modulators, and is no different than our passion for addressing those who are on modulators and need things that are more effective. We are not done yet. We have work to do. So I just, as we finish off, I'm going to go back to this quote. And I just want you all to understand, we will get this done. These wins that we're going to celebrate are going to create fuel. They're going to create momentum, and they're going to allow us to continue to move forward. And we are going to celebrate every single one of them with no buts in the sentence. And we're going to continue to drive ourselves forward until we are done with this job, until everybody has an effective therapy, until we have addressed every complication, until we have made the transplant journey better, until we have finished our job, until we are done. And how we are going to do this is really, really simple. We have hope because of you. We are going to celebrate, and we are going to continue working. And if you would indulge me, and I'm going to finish on time, Molly, which is a little unusual for me, before I bring Pam back up here to send you off to lunch, if you would indulge me in one more audience participation opportunity. May I ask you how we started this thing? Does anybody? Thank you. Who was that? Of course it was, Laura. Can you see if you can engage some of your friends and colleagues? Because that was the lamest.
Come on, people.
All right, so how have we accomplished so much?
Together.
How will we continue to make great strides?
Together.
And most importantly, how will we finish this thing?
Together.
Thank you for your engagement.